Thank you very much, Michal, and thank you, Dilip, for telling us the story of the pandemic through a migration lens. I think as far as remittances are concerned, the story really seems to have a much happier ending than initially assumed, and Michal has alluded to this in his introductory remarks. So a year back, I remember vividly, few of us would have bet on the striking robustness and resilience in remittances that we see today. The initial projections from the World Bank from April 2020 foresaw actually an unprecedented slump in remittances of about 20% in 2020 alone. And at that time, we saw the flow of remittances really in serious jeopardy due to lockdowns, border closures, widespread unemployment, lack of social safety nets that affected everyone, but migrants in particular. And of course, also the strict lockdown measures restricted migrants' access to remittance service providers and limited ability to keep sending remittances. Now, alarmed by this very critical outlook, and Michal has already mentioned it, the governments of Switzerland and the UK, and I'm glad to see my UK colleague Yemi as a fellow panelist today, we joined forces to rally other governments and key stakeholders around a call to action: remittances in crisis, how to keep them flowing. And the purpose of the call was really to raise awareness about the importance of remittances as a crucial lifeline, not only for millions of households and families worldwide, but also for the entire economies of many low and middle income countries. And the call urged governments and industry stakeholders to really take remedial action in order to assure the continuous flow of remittances, even under emergency circumstances. Now, the remittance data that Dilip presented today, they underscore once again, and I would say against all odds, the resilience and the counter-cyclical nature of remittances in the face of global economic downturn. And I think we all marvel at this positive turn of events, which was not foreseen by anyone. And although we were provided with some very plausible explanations today, I don't think that we have the full picture yet, all the aspects and all the elements that tell us how we have arrived at this positive outcome. What we do have proof for is that remittances really constitute a key factor and a key force for sustainable development that can no longer be dismissed or neglected. We have known for quite some time now that remittances have a huge potential for lifting people out of poverty, improving livelihoods, and strengthening households' financial resilience. Now, COVID-19 and its repercussions have really confirmed how important remittances are as a safety net for households, for low-income households in times of crisis, and also that they are a reliable stronghold for economies against shocks to the system. Now, even though remittances proved more stable and resilient than expected, the pandemic nevertheless exposed certain deficiencies and challenges in the traditional remittances market. And the crisis has really also accentuated the potential of digital solutions to disrupt a market that is still largely analogous. And at the same time, I believe that the call to action and other similar initiatives have also created a momentum that have highlighted the critical importance of the financial inclusions of both remittance senders and receivers, which is crucial for furthering development. Now, the call to action, I would argue, has actually achieved its objective of raising awareness on the potentially devastating impact of COVID-19 on remittances, the lives of migrants, and economic stability. The recommendations that are included in the call to action with regard to driving technological innovation, adjusting the regulatory environment, and promoting the financial inclusion of migrants and their families will remain valid long after the current crisis. Now, for this reason, the UK and Switzerland propose to continue the call to action beyond its initial purpose of responding to the crisis. We are planning an anniversary event on the 25th of June, where we will present some of the effective measures that have been taken by different governments and countries to assure the flow of remittances and also pave the way for future discussions. So the call to action will continue to offer space for governments, industry associations, and other stakeholders to take joint action in addressing the persistent challenges in the remittance market, but also to pursue the opportunities, especially in the digital sphere, that the crisis has also promoted. Now, in addition to the call to action, that's my concluding remark, Switzerland will also continue its technical cooperation with different development agencies and finance sector partners to further the financial inclusion of migrants and especially migrant women, as well as their families. We aim to invest in digital solutions to innovate the remittances market and also accompany this engagement with policy and support to policy and regulatory reforms and financial literacy interventions. Now, whether the happy ending that I mentioned at the beginning will really turn out to be a happily ever after will depend on the success of the development community, and by that I mean all of us gathered here today, in really building a strong business case for remittances and unlocking their full development potential. Thank you very much, Michal. Back to you.